So welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll discuss a SQL question basically that was asked to me in the Zetwerk interview. So this is a question. So not exactly this question, but yeah, a similar question was asked to me. So I'll just uh, explain you what the question is. I was given a table, the HR table. So you can see what the table looks like. So we have three columns here: employee ID, join date, and exit date. Now, what I want as my output is the employee ID and for the duration for which the employee has been in the organization. And these two columns I have to fetch for all those employees who have been around for a long period of time, who have been around for the longest period of time, sorry. So my output would look something like this. See, I'll write it as tenure. So see, this is what my output will look like. Now, what is the approach we are going to follow and how we are going to solve this question? I would first request you to give it a try and then we will discuss it together. So, this is the table that we have. You can take a pause and come back. So, okay, I'll solve this question. I have solved this question already, but I will solve this question afresh and I'll also explain you my approach. I hope you have given it a shot yourself. Uh, okay, let's start. First of all, let's understand what we have in the table. Although we know it, but let's see. So there is employee ID, join date, exit date, and I just want the employee ID and the tenure. So how do we get the tenure? So first of all, first thing, so this is also how we write comments in MySQL. So how do we get the tenure? Tenure is basically in layman's term, tenure is basically exit date minus the join date. But as you can see in the table, the exit date is null for a few employees. And why is that? Because for these employees, because these employees are still working in this organization. So if I have not left the organization, then there is not going to be an exit date. So for those employees, we'll have to consider the current date. Current date is equal to exit date, right? So here I'll write the query for this. Select the employee ID and I'll select everything basically. Then I'll do so. How do we do this? How do we calculate tenure? So for this, we are going to use the date diff function. If I think many of you are aware, but if you are not aware of this function, you can simply do a Google search. It's a very common function that we use with dates. So here we give the date, here we give the first date, here we give the second date, and it will give us date 2, uh, it will give us date 2 minus date 1 if I'm not wrong. Date 1. This is how this function will work. So select everything, we are selecting everything, and so for now I'll also use the case function because this step is going to be carried out before we calculate the tenure. So how we are going to accomplish this? I'll use the case statement. Case when exit date is null, then current date. So this is the function that we use in MySQL to fetch the current date. Okay. Else, normally we output the exit date. End case. From which table are we, where all these calculations are being performed, all these modifications are being performed on the HR table. So let's just run these commands. Okay, I'll give it an alias because this looks really messy. So as new exit date. Okay, there is some problem. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm very sorry. This should have, this should come after end. See, now it's working. Now what I have to do is I have to calculate the difference between the new exit date and the join date. So either I can write a query because I cannot use this alias in this query itself. So either I can uh, like encapsulate this query inside a subquery, or I can do it like this: date diff, sorry, date diff, there's no underscore, the first date and the second date. So my first date is join date and my second date is the thing that we are calculating. I don't think this will work. Yeah, this because we are using the as statement here. Okay, sorry, I'm wrong. I was just confused here. Date diff, basically it is date 1 minus date 2. It should be date. So the first date. So for more clarity, because I also keep forgetting this, I generally refer to Google whenever I get such doubts or do it myself and then realize, okay. So first date and then the second date. So this is how it will be: first date minus second date. FD minus SD. Here FD is the abbreviation for first date and SD is an abbreviation for the second date. ठीक है. So over here what I'll do, it should be this comma join date. Okay, as tenure. So you know what this is? This is, so this function, so the return type for this function is number of days. So all these things you can look for if you are not aware of this function. So the return type is number of days. So this is basically tenure is in the form of number of days. Now I want, first of all, I want the year. What I'll do, I'll simply divide this by 365 to get. Okay, sorry, I was doing the calculation on alias. That we cannot do. I'll have to do it on this. See, so these are the number of years. Okay, now let me enclose this. So I use the all keyword. So what I want here, I want the maximum tenure, where tenure is maximum. Okay, so one thing that I can do is I can use the max keyword. Like I can get the maximum tenure. I can select, so I can make this as a table, select tenure from this table and get the maximum of that, and again from this table I'll find that maximum value. That is one thing I can do, or else I can also use the all keyword. Now how the all keyword, so I want to use the all keyword because it it is like quite a new thing for me, so I just want to use it time and again. So what all keyword does is it will compare. So I'll write the query first. and then I'll explain you how it works. So it is also one way to calculate the maximum value. Yeah, so this is the table that we have. Now I'll write a where clause, where. So let it be with, so let it be a table with tab 1 as. So this is enclosed in a table, sorry, in a subquery with tab 1 as. Select the employee ID and the tenure, because these are the only two things that we are interested in, from tab 1. Now where tenure is greater than or equal to all, again select everything from, sorry, not everything, I just want tenure, I just want the maximum. Select tenure from tab 1, and tab 1 is this table. So let's see what we get. Okay, I have an issue, I have got an error. Unknown column, acha. Employee ID is unknown because there's no such column, there's no underscore in the name. See, now it's working. So this is the tenure. So what all keyword does, so if there are values, suppose I'll explain it here. If there are values like 1, 2 and 3, okay, so if I do, like if I do use an all keyword, so if I do that some value x is greater than or equal to all this, then it means it has to be greater than or equal to all the rows in this table. Suppose this is some table A, okay, and I'm saying that x is greater than, select, uh, there's a column called, it's very I know the name is very explicit, but let's just understand the gist. So a column is the name of the column, of course, and 1, 2, 3 is are its contents. So when I say x all, select call from the table, say the name of this table is table. So what we are going to get here, we are going to get the value which, so one is greater than, so we want this condition to be satisfied for all the rows. This is only possible when x is the maximum value. You think it, right? So this is how the all keyword works. I don't know if I was able to explain it comprehensively. If you still have doubts, you can Google this. But yeah, this is an interesting concept. Okay, so yeah, this is it. Now, what I want actually is I want it in the form of month and year. So for that, I'll use the concat function. Concat function is used to concatenate, to uh, gel together, I would say, two strings, multiple strings. So I'll write it. Uh, it's tenure. Okay. So this, so I'll use the floor. Also, we are going to use the floor function. So I think many of you are aware of floor and ceil functions. Floor function is, so if I say 25.9, if I do a floor of this, what I'll get 25, the lower bound. You know the concept of lower bound, right? Lower bound is 25, upper bound is 26 for 25.9. So when I use the floor function, I'll get the lower bound. Yes. So I'll do a floor function, and that is the number of years, right? So comma years, and there should be some space between these two things, and a comma, and then again space. So this should be enclosed under concat. Now I'm not aware of any function that can help me extract the fraction part of this. So I basically need the fraction part, the 0.9068. So what I'll do, I'll take the floor value of this again, and I'll subtract the sorry, from the original value, that is tenure. I'll subtract the floor value, so I'll get the fractional part that way. And once I have the fractional part, so it is 0.9 of the year, so I'll multiply it by 12. So I hope you got this. This is basic mental ability. Okay. So and yeah, so this is it. Yeah, I have to enclose the concat function, and this is the month, and there should be some space between the number and this thing, months. So that's why space. Let's run this. Oh, okay. So I have written tenure minus floor value of that tenure. Okay, sorry, I have not put the brackets. So with, BODMAS, due to BODMAS, it was multiplying 12 to this and then it was subtracting. See, now I'm getting 10 point now, but I'm not interested in how many days. So what I'll do, I'll write floor again. See, so this is the output that we were solving this question for. And again, this looks terrible. This should not be the header. This is what the time period for which the employee has been around. So yeah, this is it. I hope the solution was comprehensive, and so this is it. This was the solution. This is the approach that I have used. So the functions that I have used to solve this is the floor function, are the floor function, concat function. Yeah, that's it. So if you find this content really appealing and it did help you in some way, please subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching this. And do let me know what you think about the video. Is there any scope for improvement, or is there any better approach, or even a parallel approach to solve this question? Yeah, so that's it from my end. Please like, subscribe, and comment and share. Thank you.